What's up, you guys? Welcome to week 2 of this little cut series. So I'm 2 weeks down, still feeling pretty good. This week has been another consistent week. We haven't really gone out or have done anything yet. It's Friday today, so I have the weekend left, which you'll see what we do later in the video. But overall, it's been a pretty consistent, normal week. I've gone out for a couple of runs. On Monday, I did a stroller run with Kai. Insert that footage here. Hey guys, so it is Monday. Usually I take a rest day on Mondays, but Kai and I are actually at the trail. So I finished work a little bit earlier than I thought I was going to, and we decided to get out here. It's a super cool day. It's only 70 degrees today. It's really nice. It feels like fall, like no humidity. So I thought we would do a little stroller run. I've only ran with the stroller 2 other times, so I'm not sure how far I'm gonna go today. I'm aiming for 2 miles as a minimum. If I feel good, I might go for 3, but hoping to get 2, and I'm gonna stop talking and we're gonna go. We are finishing up our run, hit 3 miles almost, and the key to anything, as you can see from Kai's shirt, is snacks, huh? Yeah, so if you need to get out and get moving with your baby, what I would recommend is, 1, if you're running, invest in a good jogging stroller. 2, bring snacks, bring milk or juice. 3, be okay with stopping. We've stopped probably 3 times because we threw something or needed another snack, and it's fine. Still getting my movement in, still feeling really good, and yeah. So that was fun. As mentioned in the last video, I'm still lifting 4 days per week. That's like my main priority, and then the cardio, running, hiking, whatever I end up doing for that is kind of just for fun right now. So we did have plans on trying to do a Spartan race, and then COVID happened. I don't even know if they're still doing them or not. We just don't feel comfortable. So I'm hoping to do that next year maybe, or once they start happening again. But I still wanted to kind of just ramp up my endurance work a little bit more and maybe try to run a 10K or something like around here. So we'll see. But for now, I'm just keeping the cardio stuff for fun, and even at that point, it will still be for fun. Strength training is always going to be number 1 in my heart. So every week, I usually do a little meal prep at some point over the weekend, and then we'll do a second meal prep on Thursday or Friday to set us up for weekend eating. And I think a big mistake we see with our clients is they'll be really good throughout the week, they'll prep for the week, and then they run out of food, and then it's like they go out on the weekends, or it's just easier to eat out because they have nothing left prepped. So what we recommend is doing 2 meal preps per week. We do one on Sunday or Monday, and then we do one on Thursday or Friday, and that second one is just smaller, just to last us through the weekend. So that's what I did yesterday. We put Kai to bed at 6:30ish, and then I was like running around trying to clean up, doing laundry and doing all these things. And usually when Kai goes to bed, it's like I sit down for a second and relax or finish work and just kind of don't really do anything else. But I knew last night, I was like, I can either meal prep tonight and get it over with, or wake up early and do it tomorrow. And I knew today I wanted to get outside and take this morning to go do something for me. So as much as I didn't want to do it last night, I did it, and it took 45 minutes. So I did burgers, I did chicken meatballs, and then I did some sweet potatoes and Brussels sprouts. I used 3 different methods of cooking. So I used our grill, I used our oven, and I used the air fryer. And that's just what works for us. That's what allows me to get it done the fastest and get everything the way I like it. So the first thing I did was I threw the Brussels sprouts whole in the air fryer, a little bit of olive oil, and I set those for 25-ish minutes so that they can cook while I'm prepping the other stuff. Preheated the oven, and then I did the burgers first, or like form them first. So we use just the grass-fed, I think it's 90-10 ground beef. It's just, we get it at Stop and Shop. All this stuff is from Stop and Shop. And I got 2 packages. One package usually makes 4 4-ounce burgers. So I weigh them out, form them into burgers, and then I pop them on the grill and cook them for about like 8 minutes per side. And I think I didn't have the grill on all the way or something because it was taking forever last night. But I try to keep them a little bit undercooked, just because when we reheat them throughout the next few days, then they're not like super dry. So that's like my little pro tip, is to slightly undercook your red meat. And that way when you go to like microwave it or throw it on a pan to warm it up, it's not like super gross and it's like perfect. So that's my pro tip of the day. So I threw those on the grill, and then while those were starting to cook, I started to throw together the meatballs. This is my dad's recipe. I'm not sure if he got it from somewhere, but we've kind of adapted it over time. So before, we used to throw it in the oven and then throw it in the crock pot to do buffalo chicken meatballs, but now we keep them plain and then just put the hot sauce or whatever flavoring we want on afterwards. That way we can kind of mix it up a little bit more. So if you want to do like barbecue or buffalo, and we use the Frank's Red Hot wing sauce usually. So what I do is I got 3 packages of the ground chicken. I think it's just lean ground chicken, and it ends up being 3 pounds, I think. So 3 packages of those, 3 eggs, and then 3 cups of breadcrumbs. So the magic number is 3. Throw them in a bowl, mash it all together with your hands, really like blend it well so that the breadcrumbs are like evenly distributed. And then I weigh out 2-ounce meatballs and I put them on a cookie sheet with foil so it's an easy cleanup. And I think I got like, I don't even know how many, 20 something, 30 something meatballs out of that. And they're just delicious. So I'll put the macros of what it is per meatball here. We figured those out for you guys already, so you're good to go. And then we just leave them in a container in the fridge, and then when we're ready, I'll like throw them in a little rice bowl, or I'll just have them like as my protein source with honestly anything. So you bake them at 400, I think, for around 25-30 minutes until they are like a little bit brown on the bottom, and they're perfect. They're delicious. They just hit the spot. They're filling. So that is one of my go-tos as far as protein. And by the time that I was done forming the balls, the burgers needed to be flipped, or I think I was almost done forming the balls. So I went out and flipped the burgers, and then the Brussels sprouts are done. So I got those out of the container as soon as I put the meatballs in the oven, and then I chopped up some sweet potatoes into like shapes of fries, and then I threw those in the air fryer with a little bit of olive oil, some garlic powder, and then some black pepper, and I just kind of coated it in that, and cooked them on the same setting that I cooked the Brussels sprouts. I think they were done in like 20 minutes, and they were nice and crispy. So those don't always stay crispy in the fridge, but when we heat them up, it's fine. So a question that we get a lot is, do you track olive oil when you're cooking with it? And if I'm using like an excessive amount and I'm just making like 1 serving size or something for me and Josh in that one sitting to eat, then I'll track it, usually either half a tablespoon or a full tablespoon. Or if we're out to eat and I'm tracking, I'll usually track at least 1 or 2 tablespoons of olive oil, just because that's usually what restaurants are using, if not more. But when I'm at home and I'm making like a big batch of something, like for these Brussels sprouts or for these sweet potatoes, I'm doing like a quick little drizzle, and then I'm not eating all of those in one sitting. So the amount of olive oil I'm probably consuming is not very much. So I would say it just depends on how much you use. If you're someone who likes to use a lot of it, even if it is for a big batch, you could track it as like a 1/4 or a 1/2 tablespoon. Just estimate it. You're never gonna know exactly what you're having unless you are cooking like one sole meal for you and you use a certain amount. Don't stress about it burning off or whatever. Like, that's when you're getting way too obsessive about tracking and weighing. Like, yes, you want to be consistent, but there's a fine line of feeling the need to weigh like, or track a piece of gum, for example, and trying to figure out exactly how much olive oil you used. It's like all the numbers flying and it's stressful, and then you're like, oh, I'm not being consistent. You are. Estimate it, it's fine, not a big deal. So that's my little spiel for the week on olive oil. So yeah, I finished all that meal prep in about 45 minutes. I showed you guys my watch at 7 o'clock. I was done by like 7:45 or 7:50 maybe. And that was from start to finish with cleanup and everything. So super efficient, got everything done. Now we have full fridge of food for the weekend, and it will set us up for success. But I'm gonna go for a little run with Kona, and then I'm going to just input some fun footage from the rest of our weekend here for you guys. I don't know what's happening yet. You'll find out. Enjoy that. Here goes.
Nothing's all you need. When you're stripped of all your armor, you can finally feel the breeze.
Alright you guys, so it's Monday morning, and this weekend we decided to start some more house projects, so that's literally all we've been doing. Really excited about that, and I'll maybe do a whole separate vlog, but wait. So official like end of 2-week cut update. I wanted to wait till this morning to film this because I wanted to input it into this week's video because I am changing my numbers. So I did my weekly averages. So my weekly average for week 1 was 133.3, and then my weekly average for week 2, which was this past week, was 132.7. So not a huge difference, about half a pound. Pretty good for the first start of a cut and for eating literally right under 2,000 calories. So I'm happy with that. I think that, you know, hunger has been very manageable, nothing excessive. And I think that I probably could have done a little bit better with my overall fiber intake, although it did improve in week 2. Just being more mindful about that, as I talked about in the last video. So I think that I'm going to implement a very small adjustment to numbers just to kind of kick things into gear a little bit more, and I should be good there. As a general guideline, anywhere from a half a pound to 2 pounds per week loss on average is a good general range of what you want to aim for in a fat loss phase, and it's going to depend on each person, but just because that's like a good recommendation doesn't mean it's always going to happen every single week, and it doesn't mean that it happens for everybody. And obviously right now I'm doing also, I switched my training over to more bodybuilding / hypertrophy. So I think that, you know, a recomp is definitely something that could be happening, and you don't want to get so tied up into the idea that you have to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week to be having great progress. We have so many clients who really don't lose any weight at all throughout the entire duration of their cut, but looking at progress photos, they have a completely different body composition. So things can be happening even though the scale might not be always steering you in the right direction, and that's something that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of our clients, and sometimes even being objective with yourself, like me looking at this. You know, obviously a half a pound for someone my size who already doesn't have that much body fat to lose is a pretty good starting point. But I also know I'm okay with dropping it a little more, and that won't be something that's detrimental to recovery or hunger levels or just how I feel overall. So I'm feeling good. I want to be in enough of a deficit to see progress and to sustain that progress. So I'm going to drop things a little bit this week. My macros for the first 2 weeks were 125 protein, 230 carbs, and 60 fats. And I dropped them down to 125, 200 carbs, and 58 fats. So I took the tiniest bit off fats just because I have found that I've been hitting those faster than carbs, and I've been preferring, you know, my avocado and granola butter and stuff like that. So I took more carbs away for this cut, so that was about a 140 calorie deficit from last week. So again, nothing major, just to kind of keep the trend going and continue this process a little bit. So that's what I did, that's what I'm doing, and that concludes this weekly video. 2 weeks down, we'll see how many more to go. But I hope you guys are enjoying this so far. Give it a thumbs up if you are, and I will see you next week. Bye.